Hi, I'm Ifoma. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are going to be making this beautiful flayed short. So if this looks like what you're interested in, keep watching. So to begin, this is my fabric, and if you notice, the fabric is not unfold. All right, so what you're going to do is from the upper part of the fabric, you're going to measure 4 inches downward, and you're going to connect it with a straight line. And then on the other side, as you see me doing, you're also going to measure 4 inches inward, and you're also going to connect it with a straight line. All right, so having done that, the next thing you're going to do is to divide your waist measurement by 3 inches. All right, so when you're done dividing it, you're going to impute that 3 inches from that angle there downwards. I'm going to do it till you get to the other side of the line, as you see me doing, in a triangle form. So after you've gotten that, the next thing you're going to do is to join them together, join the lines, the dots together. So after that, the next thing you're going to do is to impute the length of the shirt. All right, so before then, I'm going to extend this 4 inches. I'm going to extend it down so it can reach the length of the shirt we are making. So you are going to take the length of the shirt from that line you drew earlier, and from there you are going to remove 1.5 inches for your band. That is the length of the inches of the band you are putting. Then when you remove it, you are going to from there take the measurement of your shirt, and mine is 17 inches. I mark the 17 inches. Then from the angle on top, you are going to take the measurement till that 17 inches that you marked earlier. Whatever it gives you, you are going to use that same measurement to make a dot till you get to the other line. I just hope you understand. Just watch closely, you understand what I'm doing. So after that, you're just going to connect the dots once again in a flayed form. All right, if you see this, you are going to see that this is exactly the same way we do flay. We cut flay for skirt of a peplum top. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do after connecting this dot is to take our crotch measurement. So when I was filming this, I didn't realize that that part was not very close to the camera, but if you listen, you're going to understand what I did there. Okay, you're going to take your crotch measurements. I used 10 inches for my crotch. So to get your crotch, you can simply divide your hip by 4 inches. Okay, so from there I measured 10 inches for my crotch. I added, normally my crotch is 9 inches, but I added 1 inch because it's a flayed shirt and I made it 10 inches. Okay, so from that 10 inches, you are going to divide that 10 inches into 4, all right, to get your crotch extension. When I divided it, it gave me 2.5, and I went out from that line, that initial line, I went out by 2.5. Okay, when I went out by 2.5, I drew a straight line there, and then I connected it to the hem of the dress, of the shirt. Okay, I hope you understand this, but you're going to understand it because I did absolutely the same thing for the other side. All right, so that is what you see me doing. So I went out by that crotch extension, which is 2.5. Then for the hem, I minus half inches. That is how I connected the line outside there. Okay, and for this side, I did exactly the same thing. All right, I did exactly the same thing. I went out by 2.5, which is my crotch extension. Right, when I divided my crotch by 4, I got 2.5, and I went out by 2.5. The only difference is that you know that the back of the shirt of a pant is always wider than the front, so I added half inch to the back because this side is going to be the back and that side is going to be the front. Okay, and I just connected it with an angle. Then for the hem, I minus half inch for whatever I got from the crotch extension, and that is how I connected it. This is exactly what I did for the other part. So having done that, the next thing I'm going to do is to add the sewing allowance, and that is I'm going to add 0.5 inches. So okay, this is just me labeling it. This is the front and this is the back. Okay, This is front and this is the back. So I'm going to add 0.5 inch sewing allowance to the crotch, to the waist, and to the crotch of the back as well. So this is just me adding 0.5 inches. So I added 0.5 inch on the waist also, and I also added 0.5, but you know the back is always wider than the front, so instead of adding 0.5 inches at the back, I added 1 inch at the back. Okay, I hope you understand. This is the back side and that is the front side. So having done that, I'm just going to cut out. So when I was done cutting out, this is what I have. I had to slow this place down so you see this is the front, so you see how I cut it out. Okay, so after doing that, the next thing you're going to do is to fold it. All right, so when you are folding it, ensure that that 1 inch you added at the back, that you left that 1 inch you added at the back, because the back and the front, like I said before, is not going to be the same. The back is always wider than the front anytime you're making a pant. Okay, so just ensure that that 1 inch is there, that you left that 1 inch space. Okay, so when you have done that, the next thing we did is to shear it. All right, next thing we did is to tear the folded part, because the one on top is the front and the one underneath is the back. All right, so after we've done that, the next thing we are going to do is to cut the remaining parts. Okay, which means we are going to use one, which is the front, to trace another front, and we're going to use one, which is the back, to trace another back, making it 2 pieces. All right, because of course it's going to be 2 pieces. Okay, so what you see me doing here, I'm trying to place the front and trace it, and while placing the front, please ensure that the right part of the fabric is facing the right part of the other fabric, so you don't make mistake and cut the same side. Make sure that the right part of the fabric is facing the other right part of the fabric. So after doing that, I also did the same thing for the back. I also traced that for the back, ensuring that the fronts of the fabric are facing each other. So when I was done doing that, the next thing I'm going to do is to go over to the sewing machine. But before then, I just had to pin this for us to see. I just pinned the crotch because I'm going to sew the crotch with 0.5 inches. Okay, so what I'm trying to do now is to get pin, and I'm trying to pin the front. So this is me pinning the front, just putting the front in place, putting the two of them together, so I can go over to the sewing machine and just match on it. Okay, we're going to sew on it with 0.5 inches, which is the standard for joining a cloth together. Okay, we're going to do the same thing for the back. The only difference is the back, we're going to leave space for the zip. Okay, we're going to leave space for the zip. So I'm just pinning it in place, and when I was done pinning this in place, I just measured 7 inches from the waist. So what you see me doing, I'm measuring 7 inches from the waist downwards. That 7 inches is the standard for fixing a zipper on a pant. Okay, so I'm just going to go over to my sewing machine, and I'm going to use 0.5 inch to sew them down. So this is it. I'm done sewing them down with 0.5 inches. And for the back, I started from below the 7 inches I marked. Okay, I left up for the zip, and I started from the 7 inches that I marked to join it. And then the next I'm going to do is to input the pocket. So I'm done cutting the pockets. We all know how to cut pockets. It's just normal way we cut pockets for our sheep dress. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to measure 1.5, or you can use 2 depending on the height of the person you are making the shirt for. So I use 1.5 for mine, and I'm going to place this pocket, making sure that the right side is facing each other. Okay, the right side should be facing each other. The right side of the pocket should be facing the right side of the cloth you're making. Okay, so I'm just going to pin it from that 1.5 inches that I left earlier. Okay, so this is me just pinning it in place, and I'm going to mark 0.5 inches because I'm going to join it together to the pant with 0.5 inches. Okay, so this is just me marking 0.5 inches on the fabric. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing to this side as well. I'm going to come down with 0.2 in 0.5 inches. I'm going to put the pocket and pin it in place. So if I'm done pinning it in place, I'm simply going to also mark it the way I did for the other side with 0.5 inches because we're also going to join it just like the other one. That is for the front, and for the back we are going to do absolutely the same thing. We are going to come down by 1.5 inches, and we are also going to place our pocket, making sure that the right side of the pocket is facing the right side of the pant. So I'm just going to pin it down as well and also mark it. So this is basically the same thing. You're going to pin it down. If you're going to come down by either 2 inches or 1.5 inches, pin it down, and you're going to go over to your sewing machine. Okay, so this is when we are done sewing it down. Okay, this is what it looks like. Okay, this is when we are done sewing it down. So the next thing we are going to do now is to shape it. All right, so to shape it, you are going to spread it apart like this, making sure the pockets are apart, like exactly what you're seeing on the screen right now. Make sure the pockets are apart, and you're just going to pin it down. So this is me trying to pin it down so I can show you how to shape it. So here I'm just making sure the waist is equal to the waist I'm working with. So this is me trying to pin it down. So I'm just going to pin it in place and I'm going to shape it. So I'm going to show you how to shape it together with the pocket. All right, so I was just pinning it down. All right, so when I was done pinning it down, I'm just going to mark. This is how you're going to shape it. All right, you're going to shape it with 0.5 inch, or you can use 1 inch. So when you get to the down part of the pocket, the standard measurement for pockets for adults is 7 inches. So you're going to start from the beginning of the pocket and measure 7 inches downwards. When you've gotten it, then you're going to curve your sewing at the down part of the pocket. Just look closely, you will understand. It's very simple. If you curve it to that 7 inches, then you continue your shaping. That's just as easy as it is. So you're going to do exactly the same thing for the other side of the pocket. So this is me just putting it in place and also drawing the line for the shaping. So when I was done doing that, the next thing I'm going to do is just to go to the sewing machine, and then I also pin down the shaping part, that is the down part like this. I also pin it down so I can also shape it as well. Okay, so just make sure that the joining at the center of the front and the back is equal. Then you pin it down and you shape it with 1 inch or 0.5 inches, depending on how wide you want your pants to be. So just pin it down, make sure that the center, the joining for the both crotch is equal at the down part. So having gotten this, I'm just going to go to the sewing machine and join it, and I'm also going to fold the hem very tiny. It's supposed to be very, very tiny for it to be very neat. Okay, so this is when I'm done shaping it. I've also pressed it. All right, this is how it's looking. I also press it. So pressing while sewing is very, very important. So while sewing your clothes, it's very important to be pressing it at interval. It just gives you a neat work. Okay, so this is it, and I've also prepared my band. This is just a normal curved band. So if you don't know how to do this curved band, can leave me a comment down below so I can do a video on that. All right, so this is just me trying to pin down this band, showing you how it's supposed to be. Okay, so at this point, if you have not subscribed, please click the subscribe button and also turn on the notifications, so when I post other videos you are going to be notified. Okay, thank you very much. So this is just me trying to pin down the band All right, this is a curve band. You can actually use a straight band as well, but I love using a curve band for my skirt, for my shorts. It just gives me that, just shaping that my stomach, just gives me that beautiful shape that I want. Okay, so I'm just pinning it down. So when I was done pinning it down, the next thing I did was to go over to my sewing machine. I joined it and also fixed my zipper. So this is what it looks like when I was done. I'll see you later. Bye.